All right, it is 9 o'clock. We have us some audio. We have us some video. We got a couple people tuned in live, and that means it's time to start the show. All right, we are live. Here goes nothing. All right. Hello and welcome, friends. It is Friday. We have made it to another one. I would like to welcome you on behalf of myself, Wes, at Staghammer Studio here, and we're gonna be doing some hobby tonight, guys. I've been looking forward to this for a couple of days now, and trying to get some stuff ready and prepped for this so that we can just kind of jump in. So that being said, I'm going to keep my intro as concise as I am able to, as I have a tendency of rambling. That, you know, we'll see. So first of all, welcome. Over the next couple of hours, I'm going to be working on some miniature painting and hobby stuff of my own. I encourage you to grab whatever hobby you enjoy, pull up a chair, and join us in the chat. Join us in the comments. Let me know what you're working on, and hobby along with me. We're in for a good time. Aside from that, as I said, it is Friday. We had an interesting week, I suppose. I had an interesting week. My wife, daughter, and I went out last weekend, which is why there was no stream on Friday last weekend. The stream instead I did on Thursday, and then posted the video up on Friday to the YouTube channel. So that being said, actually, speaking of which, we'll get the ticker going across the bottom there. So you can see the address for the YouTube. If you are not already subscribed, I highly recommend doing that. We have some fun stuff on the way over there. Not to mention our weekly streams, which the VODs all get posted up there the same day they go live here. So, anywho, you can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Socials are all linked somewhere, and they'll be scrolling across the screen. So, okay. So yeah, as I was saying, my wife and daughter and I went out of town. We went to the Cape Cod for the weekend, basically. And I managed to get myself a wicked sunburn. And it is still in the process of healing. It is at the stage now where it is incredibly itchy. So I have myself an assistant for the show this evening. I don't have a name for him yet, but you will likely see him make at least a couple of appearances as I hurriedly just scratch the crap out of my back. But anyway, we did that before the show, so hopefully that will keep us sailing for a while. But yeah, that's really work with a crazy sunburn, wearing a harness, sweating all day. It has been an uncomfortable week for me, but we're at the tail end. I think we'll be right as rain in no time. Anyway, that's enough about that. I don't really have a ton of interesting hobby news. I have picked a bit of a direction for the initial few episodes of my Battle Report narrative campaign. So that's kind of where we're starting off today is, as I said, I picked a direction for that. I know what I want to do for the first couple of episodes. And as such, we are going to be sort of like painting along those lines, for the sort of foreseeable future. So I really don't know. Let's just get down to it. So we're going to flip on down to the desk, and I'll bring out our special guests. We are going to be painting us up some goblins today. Oh, hell yes, people. This is going to be fun. I went ahead and primed them up this afternoon, and by this afternoon, I mean I finished about 30 minutes ago. So it was kind of a rush job on the prime, I'm not going to lie, but I'm relatively happy with where they're at. Primed them black, and then I mixed in a little bit of this. I don't even know what the hell the name of the color is. It's by Reaper. And I'm sure I could probably look it up somewhere, maybe if I felt like it, but there's no actual paint color name on the bottle. There's not even like a number that I can look up, like, paint 00532 is, sky blue or something like that. But anyway, it's a super, super light, like blue gray. And I mixed that in with the black that I had primed with. To get this sort of like, dark bluey gray, which I did like a, maybe basically a zenithal prime. I don't know what the exact angle I was holding it at. I just kind of went with whatever looked good. But that gave us like an initial start to our paint and an initial start to our sort of highlights on this. So I did like a top-down zenithal highlight on that. Realistically, these guys are like 85% robes, so I feel like I've already got most of the work done. So it's almost like cheating in a way, but it's not. So anywho, so we're going to be doing these guys today. Obviously, I've got 20 dudes here, and I will probably not get through all 20 of them, but I will try and batch paint like crazy to get through as many as I can. So that's why I was sort of eager to jump into this. So buckle up, guys. We're going to be doing some painting today. I haven't 100% thought through the paint scheme. I know I have a fair idea of the general direction I'm headed. I haven't... I'm kind of making it up as I go, though. I'm not going to lie. So hopefully this turns out pretty well. I have a sneaking suspicion it will, though. I also have a sneaking suspicion I'm going to need more of this. Probably should have checked on that beforehand. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but we'll see. I am referring, of course, to Nuln Oil. It's one of the Citadel washes. And I am going to, now that I have Zenithal primed these guys, I'm going to go ahead and give them all a quick wash with this. And I'm just basically, in the batch painting, we're going to start on one end of the line. We're going to work our way across. And hopefully by the time we reach the end, the first guy will be dry enough to actually do something with. Otherwise, this is going to be a real boring episode. But I think we'll be fine, guys. I think we'll be fine. How is everyone today? How has your week been? Keep me updated. Let me know what you guys are working on. Let me know how you guys are doing. Post up in the comments. Post up in the chat. Let me know what's up. And I'm just going to be slapping some wash on these guys. So we're not really going to be going into anything super crazy at this point. Now, the idea behind the Zenithal priming setup is that basically it adds your highlights as if it was light, you know, like coming from like kind of sort of top down, you know. At least that's kind of the idea behind it. Now, I chose to mix a very light, sort of like cold white into the black to make my highlight color. And this was because I was trying to go for like a colder highlight. I also suspect I will be using some warmer colors on these models in a few places, particularly on their skin. And I thought that the cold-warm contrast would be nice. So it's going to be dark, cool colors and light, warm colors predominantly on these guys. But spraying the black first and then coming in with that, you know, sort of light blue-gray, it helps to show some of the details, but at the same time, a lot of the finer details kind of get lost and washed out. So by putting this sort of black-brown Nuln Oil wash all over, the idea is to help bring out all of those little itty-bitty details. And once this is dry, I'm going to be hitting it with a very light dry brush of the same blue, like white blue, that I used in the highlight for the Zenithal, just without the black. So I'm going to be doing like a very stark highlight, and that's essentially to really pop the edges and stuff. And it's, like I said, it's going to be a very, the idea at least is to go for a very light dry brush. So it's not going to be crazy heavy. Yeah, pretty much it. So that's how we're going to be prepping these guys. And because they are mostly robes, as I said before, the prep, as I say, is going to be like, I don't know, probably like 80% of the work for painting the models. And then it's just a matter of picking out details and faces and hands and shields and weapons and all that kind of stuff, which is going to be fun in its own right. But we'll get there. Don't want to rush that. In theory, by doing it this way, we're saving ourselves a ton of time, and we're speed painting the crap out of these guys. But hopefully they will still look pretty good. So we're ripping right through. We've already got 5 of these guys washed. What's up, Dave Harris? How's it going? This even, yeah, this is at least somewhat on screen. That's good. Haven't completely lost that yet. Give it time. I'm sure I'll wander out of frame plenty. One of the nice things about using a wash over these 2 different colors that I primed him in is it sort of helps tie them together a little bit. So it sort of acts to help blend those highlight and shade colors as well. It acts almost like a filter. So, or a glaze or something. I don't know. I'm sure there's a technical name for it, and it's probably one of those, but yeah, whatever. But yeah, these I picked these guys up recently. They came in this week, and I spent a good portion of what little hobby time I had for the week working on getting them built and ready for tonight's stream so that we could rip through painting as many of them as possible. The idea is that these guys will play at least somewhat of a role in the first couple of episodes of my narrative campaign of battle reports. So that being said, for those of you that have been tuned in for a few episodes now and have heard me talk about this campaign I've got planned, you will know, and for those of you that don't, you're about to find out. The campaign itself is going to be set virtually entirely in the realm of Shyish. Now, for the uninitiated, the realm of Shyish is the realm of death in the mortal realms. And so these guys are going to be goblins from the realm of death. And I was trying to think to myself, like, what I wanted to do for a paint scheme for them. Typically, these goblins, or really any of the goblins in most fantasy literature and tropes and stuff like that, most of them are green. You see that pretty frequently. Well, I decided I was going to kind of swerve off the main road a little bit on that one, and I am going to take a page from the folklore books, and I am going to, I believe it's Irish folklore specifically, and anybody out there that knows differently, feel free to correct me in the comments or in the chat if you're catching this live. But I believe in Irish folklore, they have a critter known as the red cap, and it is essentially a goblin. But the red cap goblins are vicious little buggers, and they have very pale skin, as they are, they dwell underground largely, which these, in the lore, these Moon Clan grots, they all live in caves and are underground dwellers as well. So I thought that kind of fit a little bit. So the idea is I'm going to be doing black robes on them, like crusty metal weapons. And then their flesh is going to be a very pale, like warm flesh color, very subterranean. And then I'm going to be glazing their noses red, with just like sort of a little bit of red, not like, clown nose red or anything like that. But at least I hope not. Hopefully it doesn't turn out that way, but hey, we haven't done it yet, so we'll find out. But anyway, the noses and maybe the eyes are going to be a little bit red as well. I kind of wanted to go for a almost like a cataract, like kind of blind eye, like something that's been living in pitch black most of its life. They're not really going to have good eyesight, you know what I mean? Like, so they're going to have that kind of weird, cloudy eye look. At least in my head they do, and that's kind of terrifying. Like, the idea is I want these guys, they're normally, like, in Age of Sigmar, these guys kind of fill a weird, like, comic relief kind of thing. Like, they're just like a wacky, zany faction that does, like, stupid shit all the time, and like, nobody super takes them seriously. Which, I'm not here to say whether that's right or wrong. But what I am here to say is that's not what I want. I want them to be like the creepy side of, fairy tales that you don't really see much anymore. So that's the goal. Whether or not we'll be able to pull that off in actual paint, well, I guess that remains to be seen. I don't mind if they're a little bit goofy, but I want that goofy to be like heavily, I don't know, flavored with creepy. That's the plan. We want creepy. I have these are not my first goblins. My brother and I split the Loon Curse box that came out from Games Workshop. I don't know, like 6 months ago, a year ago. I don't even know anymore. Damn you, COVID, and my lack of ability to tell time. But anyway, the Loon Curse box was a split army box, sort of a narrative box, and half of it was Sylvaneth, which is my brother's army, so he took that half, and then the other half was the Gloomspite Gits, specifically, which is the goblins. Specifically, it was the Squig goblins. The squig riding goblins. Squigs are essentially balls with like big bouncy balls with sharp teeth and 2 legs and a tail. They're pretty ridiculous, but they are cave-dwelling creatures that may or may not somehow be descended from fungus. I'm not entirely sure on that, but yeah, they're a little wacky. They're a lot of fun. They're not exactly good in terms of, like, you know, the game, but they're really cool models. There's a lot of character in them, a lot of fun, but they also sort of have that sort of fine line between creepy and funny, and so I thought they would be a great sort of thing to delve into. And so I wanted to get some, like, just sort of basic foot troops for the army, which is where these guys come in. Now, I think the maximum unit size for these guys is something like 60, which is absolutely ridiculous. And this is, I've got 20 here, so I don't know that I'm not in any rush to gain more of them anytime soon. But I suppose if I see a good deal on eBay, I won't pass it up. Okay. That's done. 20 of them washed, start to finish. Good job, team. We did it. Suck down some last of my iced latte from this afternoon that I completely forgot about for hours and hours on end. By the time I got back to it, it was just coffee-flavored ice water. Oh well. I did make a fresh cup of coffee, however, so delving into that momentarily, no doubt. All right, so we're going to go back to the first one in line that we did. We're going to check him, and he is still drying. Bummer. But that's all right. They're getting there. Oh. Speaking of eBay, got a bunch of notifications, but it's nothing I particularly care about, so we're just going to set the phone aside. All right. Ooh. Getting warm down here, and that's because I turned the AC off earlier. Pardon me, folks. I normally hate to do this, but I need to get up and turn that AC on. I'll be right back. All right, that's better. I knew I forgot to do something before this show started. Anyway, where are we? We are, let's see. I need to select a dry brush. I'm looking for a particular dry brush in this case. I think you will do just fine. It's got very soft, but a little bit longer bristles. Very soft, rounded tip. The makeup brush came in a set that my wife got for me, specifically for painting. And it came with, you know, I don't even know what the hell kind of brush this is. Just like an angled, harder bristle thing. Don't want that. I guess the other option would be this one, but I feel like the bristles are almost too long in this case. So I like this nice middle ground brush. So we're going to use this one for our dry brushing this evening. And we're going to be using, like I said, whatever the hell color this is. It's like a light sky, like lighter than sky blue. I don't even know. There's literally no name on the paint bottle. It's from Reaper Miniatures. That's all I know. It's in the Master Series paint sample, 1/2 ounce. But it doesn't actually have a name for what color this is. So, if anyone out there knows, let me know in the comments, I guess. I'd like to know what color I'm using on my models. But it was a good color, is basically where I'm going with that. This is about what I wanted for what I was trying to accomplish. Let's check our drying progress. So you can see here, this guy's not 100% dry yet, but let me see if I can at least get the camera to kind of focus in on some of this. So you can see, you know, from the underneath here, he's very dark, very black. And then he's a little bit lighter from the top, but that dark black wash really muted down the already subtle highlights I had given them. But the highlights I had put on were just like a little bit too stark and a little bit higher than what I wanted. But this brought a nice, I don't know, it balanced it out a little bit more. It brought it back down into the territory I wanted, so it's closer to the black, but still noticeable. And then it has settled nicely in the recesses, so it is emphasizing some of the detail nicely. And then, like I said, I'm going to come in with this dry brush momentarily. Just trying to let this first couple actually dry. Because otherwise, this is going to be real crappy real fast. Maybe I should have tried to do this step and let it dry before we went live. But, you know, I wanted to try and get some sort of documentation of all of this. But anyway, so let me... I don't know if there's a way I can actually show off the... I know there's a way to share screen, but I would have to figure it out on the fly, and I don't really want to take the time to do that. But, yeah, basically, I'm going to be doing some... I think the skin, we're going to be doing a base coat of Rakarth flesh here, which is like a warm but like very light beige. So that's going to be the base color, and then I'm going to thin down. I don't honestly know if 1-to-1 ratio is going to be enough. I might end up doing like a 2-to-1. Of Lahmian Medium to Reikland Flesh Shade as the wash. Actually, no. No, I lied. We're not going to do Reikland Flesh Shade. We are going to do, where is it? Agrax Earth Shade. Because we want these guys to look dirty. They live in caves. They're not like, you know, well washed. But we are going to thin it down substantially. So it's still going to collect and emphasize the recesses. But it hopefully isn't going to like muddy up the surfaces too much. And where it does settle, it will settle as sort of like a, you know, like a darker brown. That sounds good to me. And then any and all highlighting on like the faces is going to be done in Pallid Witch Flesh. And that's basically the skin done. And then I have some... Where is it? Where did it run off to? There it is. Is that it? Yes. I have some old Citadel glaze here, Bloodletter. And this is just a red glaze, very red. I almost feel like maybe I should mix my own glaze and just pick like corn red or something and just water it. We'll try it. We'll experiment. We'll try the bloodletter and just maybe even thin down the bloodletter a little bit and use that and just build up a light glaze of the bloodletter. But basically, this is going on his nose to really like pop that out. And then they all have these. My camera. The hoods there, the little pointy hats. Those I'm going to be like about halfway up the tip of the hood. I'm going to start fading it up into red, so it's going to be a brighter red on the tips, and or at least a more, not bright, but a more opaque red. And the idea is that the red caps get their name because they have fleshy hats that they wear that are made of human skin. And this is the old folklore version of the red caps, mind you. And they keep them soaked in blood. And if it ever dries out and is not bloody, then the red cap dies. So that works. So my plan is on all of these guys, their little hoods are going to fade from black to like a sort of like an opaque, dark, sort of bloody red on the tips. So it's like they soak their hoods in blood because they're weird little goblins. I don't have a why yet. I just have an idea of what they're doing. I need to sit down at some point and write like a weird backstory for these guys and figure out how they came to be and I don't know what that was. How they came to be and a little bit about them. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. These goblins are goofy and terrifying at the same time. So and these guys are like extra creepy. All right, come on. How are we doing? We almost done. Oh, and then the other thing I know that I'm doing on these guys is the big motif that crops up on these guys a lot is the little mushrooms. You can see it on the top of the flagpole here. There's a bunch of little mushrooms. There's not a ton actually on the rest of these models. The musician has some, and I think honestly that's it that I saw on these guys specifically. Normally they're like a lot of the other miniatures in the line have a lot of little mushrooms on them. Those I'm all going to be painting, like the stems are going to be white, and then the little the cap on the mushroom is going to be like a super like ghostly ethereal blue, tying it again back into that blue pop color that I've been using in a lot of my armies. And the idea is that they're mushrooms from the realm of death, so they've soaked up some of that, and they're just like those weird sort of bioluminescent, like blue glowing, sort of ethereal. I'll probably call them like ghost cap mushrooms or something like that. I think that sounds appropriate. So anyway, that's what I know I'm doing with these guys. Oh, and then on their shields, that's the other main thing. On their shields here, they have all of them have the moon icon. That's like big thing for them is the bad moon, they call it. So this moon icon, I'm going to be painting in a similar. I have the color on hand. Where is it? Oh, it's lurking around somewhere. Basically, I'm going to be doing it in a very sickly pale green color. This Saberite green is probably going to be the base for it, and it's just a very, I don't know if you can kind of pick that up. like a washed out blue green kind of, but heavy on the green. And there's another color, and I know I have it somewhere, and I don't know why I can't find it right now, but it's called Goss Blaster green. Like I said, I know it's here, and I know I have it, but for whatever reason I can't find it. But that's what I'm doing the highlight colors, because I think that's going to be sort of a suitable step up from this, something a little bit lighter. And I may use like a watered down Aurelia green shade or something to add a little bit of shade into it. But we'll see. I guess I don't have that 100% ironed out, but okay. I think we're at a point now. Turning the AC on helped dry it out a little bit, but I think we're at a point now where I can safely start to dry brush these guys without smearing a bunch of paint everywhere that I don't want it to be. Okay. So, first things first, we need whatever the hell color this paint is, because I don't know, because Reaper didn't tell me. But we're going to take some of it. Again, color name is unknown to me, but it's like a very pale, I don't know, almost like, I don't know, super pale blue. Like off-white, blue, cold white kind of thing. Definitely more on the blue than the white, but only just. And we're going to get our brush. We're going to wipe off most of this crap. We're going to test it on the back of our hand. And we're not getting a ton there, so we know we're okay. And this we're going to do just top down, because we want this, again, to sort of like mimic the light a little bit. Getting a little bit, forcing a little bit into some of the more recessed areas. I don't care if I'm getting it on his hands. I don't care if I'm getting it on his face, because we're going to paint all that crap later. But just trying to get the necessities. So basically, like the edge of his hood, he's got like a little capelet kind of thing. Some of the folds on his cloth. Those are like the things I really want to emphasize. And then everything else is going to get painted over, so it doesn't so much matter. And of course, we've now reached models that are still a little wet. That's, well, maybe just that one. All right. Go back in for a little bit more paint. Wipey, wipey, wipey. Back in, yeah. Just gonna get the rest. What we need on him. Whoop. Oh, the Butterfingers are in full effect tonight, guys. Full effect. All right. You're rocking right along. So, is anybody looking forward to anything over the weekend? Let me know if you guys have any fun plans for the weekend. Something coming up. I realize COVID is still in full effect, but things are starting to open back up, so I don't know if you've been out to any restaurants lately or tried to get out and about a little. It's me. I had, I think it was on an old episode of Warhammer TV's Stormcast, like the old short versions that were like 15 minutes before they realized that that's not actually a podcast. And they had somebody on there. I think it was around the time of Malign Portents, when that content was just coming out. Still a little wet. Shoot. But anyway, one of their studio guys had started a skirmish band of Gloomspite Gits. And they were from Shyish, the Realm of Death. And he had painted them all up so they were all wearing white, essentially white robes. And the whole idea was that they had come to the Realm of Death, and because they're stupid little goblins, they were like, hey, let's all dress like ghosts so the ghosts don't attack us. And that was the story. And I thought that was a hilarious idea. But I didn't want to rip it off. And I also, I wanted to emphasize, the creepy factor more than the humor factor on these guys. So I opted for a different direction. That guy's still wet. This guy's okay. Apparently some of these guys I washed a little bit heavier than others, but that's all right. You're still wet. We're going to call you still wet. I think you're okay. Sleeping, sure, that counts as fun, I suppose, if that's something you're looking forward to. I don't know. Let's put it this way. It's not up to me to judge. I'm not here to yuck your yum. So if you consider sleeping fun, and that's what you're looking forward to, then more power to you. You're a little deprived in the sleep department, and you're looking to catch up. Sure, that counts. You're still wet. I thought some of the ones I did towards the end are somehow drier than the ones I did in the middle. A little too wet. You're good. Yeah, not having to get up early is it's nice on the weekends for sure. We're just about done with these robes, which means we're just about done with most of the model. I love quick, easy paints. Especially nice because, like I said, these guys are definitely a horde army in the way that they're set up. And since maximum unit size and the preferred unit size to run these particular little fellas in is like 60, the thought of having to intricately paint 60 models kind of makes me want to jump off a very high place. But they're so cool and so full of character. Really wanted to get some of them done. But this paint scheme makes it super easy. Sort of just rip right through them. And I like it. All right. Not like 100% dry. I'm going to go in on him anyway because he's the last one. I want to get him done so I can move on to the next step. Plus, I'm sure you guys are all sick of seeing me dry brush these guys. Not like the most interesting thing in the world. Alright. Cool. I'm going to call them done. I'm going to rinse off my dry brush. Brilliant. Alright. Done and dusted. So, let's pick a dude here. We'll go with the unit champion. And we can see here, hopefully. Focus, maybe a little would be nice. There we go. There's something. Alright, so we can see on this guy that just like the edges and the top like prominent areas and stuff like that have been picked out in that light bluey gray color. And that sort of helps pop that little bit of extra detail out. It's nothing super fancy, but it certainly is effective. I actually just now noticed that this guy's got a sweet little moon-shaped eye patch. Pretty rad. Okay. So I think the next sort of next largest surface on these guys is going to be the flesh. So that's what we're going to move into next. Oh, that coffee's starting to get cold, team. Not a fan. Well, I mean, good coffee. I'm a fan of good coffee, but a fan of cold, hot coffee. If that makes any sense. Does that make any sense? Cold, hot coffee? Like it used to be hot coffee and now it's just becoming cold? If it's intentionally cold, like an iced coffee, that's one thing. And that's fine. I'm telling you. Okay, so we've got our palette. Shake up rack our flesh a wee bit. Let me grab our brush here. A little bit of that, rack our flesh, drop that onto the palette. Grab a little bit more since I've got a few of these guys to go through. And a touch of water to help thin it down. All right, where to start here? No, I don't want to start on him. Let's just pick a random dude in the middle and start on him. Touch more water, because we want this thin and flowing. And we're going to carefully paint this guy's face in. I'm not expecting this to be great coverage right off the bat. We did thin it a little bit, and I have no problem going in for a second, third, or even fourth coat if I have to. Obviously, since I'm trying to speed paint through these guys, I would rather not take 4 coats to do it. But, you know, let's see what we have. I think 2 will probably end up doing the trick with this. Have any? Where's my? Bit of flow aid. I'm gonna mix that right in. Need it to flow into the cracks a little bit better than what it's doing. Don't really want to thin it too much more than it already is. We want to be careful around the robes that we don't paint the robes, but where his weapon is still going to be painted, so no need to be super careful there. Off. That's better. Knew something felt off, and that's what it was. Just trying to carefully get underneath his shield here and paint his other hand. Again, I don't care if I get paint on the shield because I'll be going back in to paint that at some point. I've already got to clean it up from all the dry brushing and all that nonsense. But he's got a little hand sort of tucked in behind the shield. One of the reasons I generally don't like attaching shields like this until the last. But in this case, the shield was just attached to the whole arm. It was just one sort of big piece. And these guys basically come in 3 pieces each, which makes assembly a snap too. It's torso and head all in one piece. And then you attach the arms. And they're done. Which, like I said, is nice for speedy assembly. But part of me almost wishes... No, I don't. I don't wish I had painted them like in individual pieces. That's crazy talk. Shut up, Wes. You don't even know what you're saying. If this was like a hero, or hell, even like a unit champion, then maybe I would take the time to paint it in pieces. These guys are designed to do one thing, and that's pretty much to just die. So I am not going to pour countless hours into an immaculate paint job, only to be pulling them off the table by the fistful later. Alright, so we ended up needing about 3 coats, give or take, on this guy's skin to get it to at least roughly the level I'm trying to get it to. But that's where we're at. They're going to look like, basically. So now we've got 19 more guys to do that to. It's going to be a fun episode, guys. All right, let's see. Okay, let's grab the unit champ. Speaking of which, let's just knock him out. Just really like to. I want to get him done. I think realistically, for the sort of first couple of episodes of my bat reps and the narrative campaign, they're going to be very small games that I'm basically playing versus myself as a way of introducing my actual army, which is my Legions of Nagash army. But these will be some of the adversaries that they will be going up against. I very much want to make sure that I have a diverse enough group that it's not just all like a couple of dudes that all look exactly the same. But I'm also not looking to have like an entire army painted because I don't need that. This unit of 20 is plenty. That rhymed. Quite frankly, 20 is probably more than what I need. This particular purpose. I think essentially like the first couple of bat reps are going to end up being like skirmish level stuff. So it's just going to be like my vampire lord and like a couple of minions of his, and you know, facing off against some smaller groups of other stuff. Essentially what I'm envisioning. So like I said, I don't need a ton of these guys. But as they are particularly weak, they're designed to be played in large numbers. I need to have enough that it actually poses a challenge. I had thought about doing these guys in just like a super pale green skin. Like, you know, they were still green skinned goblins, but were, you know, because of their subterranean nature and the fact that it's subterranean in the realm of death, that they would have like a very sapped, sort of washed out, desaturated color scheme. But I liked the idea of trying to mimic this red cap sort of artwork that I found, and I don't know, the red cap vibe was just, that's what I was going for, and it works nicely. But I'm already home. All right. Let's just kind of keep rotating these guys. We'll just do a coat, rotate, do a coat, rotate. The idea of batch painting, I suppose. Although I feel like maybe painting these guys to completion in terms of like whatever step I'm on, like just paint the skin till it's done, might be the way to go. I don't know. I've never super loved batch painting in general. It's something that I'm trying to get better at because, like it or not, I have a tendency of playing horde armies. I think they look really cool on the table, and they're just compelling story-wise. And you know what? This brush, it's not doing me any favors today. I wonder if this one will work. Let's try this one. Ooh. This brush just might be the hero we need. Similarly, I would like to be somewhat careful near this banner because I haven't decided what color I want to paint it yet, but I may want to just keep it the same kind of black fabric as everything else. I realize that might be a little bit boring, but there is like a big image on the front that will get painted. So just having a black background for that might be the play, might be the way to go. Let's see. I'd rather leave it black now and be careful around it so that I can keep it if that's what I decide, so that I don't have to try and repaint it and somehow get it to match everything else after the fact. That's going to be a way bigger ask. There it is. Next. Well, I did manage to pick up too the new General's Handbook for Age of Sigmar. I picked that up, pre-ordered it when it went live for pre-orders, and got it in on Wednesday was when I picked it up, as that was when I was able to get to it. And I haven't given it like a cover-to-cover read or anything. Quite frankly, there's plenty of stuff in it that just doesn't interest me in the slightest. But one of the big things that interested me, and one of the big reasons I wanted it so badly, was, as I said, I'm starting up a narrative campaign, and I had already been planning on doing like specific, like basically custom heroes. And I plan to have like a leveling system as if it was an RPG for the heroes that will help them gain new abilities and get stronger, and basically build them from, just sort of like your foot slogging, sort of grunt hero up to like, your realm destroying sort of heroes and champions. And so it was incredibly good timing that as I sat down to start, finalizing my rules for that stuff, the General's Handbook came out with their Anvil of Apotheosis, I think they called it, which is basically a bespoke hero generator, where you can basically create your own narrative stuff for heroes, for narrative play, and I think you can use it in matched play as well. But I might be a little bit more limited in match play. I'm not sure specifically. But either way, I was very excited to get my hands on it and check it out. And so far, I like what I see. I should say that. From a more competitive standpoint, and I use that term fairly loosely, I liked several of the points changes as well, particularly for my Nurgle army, and I think I think there were some positive changes for Legions of Nagash as well, but I'd have to go back and double check. All right. You guys done? Time to move on. Move all my flesh painted ones over. All right, where's the stand? The musician guy. The Gong Basha. He is called. Get this guy done. Probably gonna get a couple of the netters done. I think my goal for tonight, looking at the time, I would like to try and get 10 of these guys. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This makes 5. Let's take 2 netters. This guy. I don't know. This guy. Let's do a mace guy. And a couple more sword guys. That's too many. Let's put this guy back. And meeny, meeny, miny, this guy back. All right, cool. So that's going to give us 10. That's half. So my goal is to get at least the base coat of flesh on these guys here. And then obviously this guy that I'm still working on. As long as I do that, then I feel like I'm on track here. The rest of these guys will be done in relatively short order. This is, all things considered, going fairly quickly. I'm not upset at the time it's taken, let's put it that way. But I always have a bad habit of underestimating exactly how much time it's going to take for me to do any project. I'm sure I looked at these guys this afternoon even and was like, oh yeah, they're still gray plastic, but I'll have all 20 of them done by the end of the stream tonight. I'm such an idiot. No, you won't. You're not even going to have half of them. But that's okay. We'll get done what we can. And if I have a chance to get the rest caught up by next week, then I will, so that we can start on whatever the next phase of this project is. Which will probably be, once this part is done on the skin at least, then I can wash it all and then just do some quick highlighting. There I go again, underselling exactly how much effort it's going to take. Oh yeah, it'll be super quick to highlight 20 dudes. A real fine brush. And out all the little face details. All their little fingies. Feel like in an army like this, where again the clothes on these guys, the robes, are just so easy and quick. That's not where you're going to draw the eye from anybody watching, or not watching, but anybody like looking at the army once it's done. You know what I mean? Like the old saying, the old adage. What was it? Faces, bases, banners, and shields. That's what it was. Back from Fantasy Battles. I had to think about that for a second. But those were the key things. That's what everybody looks at. They look at the model's face. They look at the base. You know, like, is it well based? Does it look cool on the base? And are the shields like well done? And are the banners well done? And in this case, like, you want to make the weapons look cool. You're gonna like put some extra effort into the hands, the faces, the weapons, shields, bases, banners, whatever like the standout sort of features are. And the robes, realistically, you can just kind of phone it in. These guys, I'm not painting for any sort of competition either, so I'm not going to go above and beyond. But that's something I miss. I'm not going to lie. I before my daughter was born, I had gotten into doing a lot of the local painting competitions, mostly the ones that were held at like the local GW store. And then I found that there was a couple of other like local hobby shops that were doing similar stuff. And by the time I found that out, my daughter was well on her way being born. And once she was born, I've had very little hobby time to put into that kind of like rapid fire, because it's usually like a monthly sort of painting competition. And you know, my time is somewhat limited these days, so I haven't had much of an opportunity to take part. I miss that element of the hobby. I did okay, let's put it that way. But I did, I think the first time I entered, I managed to place second. I think I took first once, maybe twice after that, which was cool. And then I took like third and like honorable mention a few times as well, runner up. Obviously, with the place being shut down because of COVID, it's just now, I think, within the last like week or two. At least that's when I heard about it. It was about 2 weeks ago that they were opening back up. Some of the local like gaming stores have been open the whole time, just doing like curbside pickup and stuff like that for necessities. But it's been tricky because Games Workshop itself has been like their factories and warehouses and stuff like that have all been shut down. So once stores like sold out of, you know, item X, then they were out for the duration until Games Workshop opened back up again, which they did, I don't know, a few weeks ago. Started shipping stuff out again. Sort of smash through these last few. What do we have for time? Oh, all right, we still got some time. Not that I'm going to necessarily slow down, but I don't have to super crazy rush. If all I'm trying to do is get through at least these 10, that I feel confident we can pull off. Maybe I'll get some bonus ones done. Okay, chill out, Wes. You're doing it again. You're overestimating the amount of work you're actually going to get done. These guys just look so, I don't know, wicked, evil little bricks. Yeah, they just have a habit of showing up and just doing stupid shit. They're all crazy. They're all on drugs. They're all taking like hallucinogenic mushrooms. And this is not a faction of balanced individuals. Honestly, I don't know which faction is zanier, these guys or the Skaven. They're both pretty nutso. I think by definition, these guys might be actually crazier because they're literally tripping balls on mushrooms most of the time. And I think it's their faction leader, whose name escapes me at the moment. The Loon King, whatever his name is. He has a garden of what once were humans. He basically goes around kidnapping scholars and like mystics and sages and stuff like that, and then force feeds them magic mushrooms so they all start tripping balls and having like prophetic visions and so forth. And he's cursed them all so that they're like a half human, half mushroom hybrid. So they're like rooted in place in this cave somewhere. And it's like a garden of mutant mushroom human hybrids that are all like magically inclined in some way and are all tripping balls, and they're all like basically feeding him crazy visions so that he can attempt to better predict the location and the movement of the Bad Moon, which is essentially their, not their god per se, but it's a, I guess a manifestation of their god's power. I think that's probably an accurate way of describing it. But yeah, as a result, I think it's pretty safe to say that these guys are crazy through and through. They're just lunatics. The Skaven are certainly wacky, but theirs is like they just have like super grandiose plans that always backfire because they're always stabbing each other in the back, kind of thing. Like the only thing you can count on when it comes to Skaven is that at some point they will betray you and stab you in the back. And that's why everybody hates that faction. Like, even all the other Chaos factions are like, no, you guys suck. Which is it's almost endearing in a way. Like, I don't know. My inner troll, I think, loves them for that reason. But these guys, like I said, oh man, they're just nutty. Just nutty. Anytime you have an entire race of cave-dwelling beings that subsists entirely off of like hallucinogenic mushrooms, you know you're in for a good time. That's basically all there is to it. Now, I have gotten a little bit, especially on the inside of the robes here, like inside the hood, where it meets the skin, because I'm going kind of quick here. I have managed to get a little bit of this flesh color onto the sort of the edge of the inside of the robe specifically. I've avoided it as much as possible, but it was bound to happen sooner or later. But since I'm coming along with and yes, it's going to be watered down, but where it collects in the recesses is still probably going to be fairly dark. The brown wash that I'm planning. And so that will help sort of hide my crimes a little bit, so to speak. Where are we on time? Time for another sip of coffee is what time it is. Oh, team, that is long cold. Oh boy. Yeah, that was cold a while ago. It went from getting there to fully there real quick. Apparently I missed that boat. Right. That's okay. I would say cold coffee never killed anyone, but it's a crazy world out there, and you never know. Somebody might have killed somebody because they got cold coffee. Or maybe somebody was surprised that their coffee was cold while they were drinking and driving. And they swerved and hit somebody. But I can't say nobody. But I think it's safe to say that very few people have died as a result of cold coffee. Oh. Alright. Getting to be too much, guys. Oh, we knew what was going to happen sooner or later. Oh, yeah. Whew, much better. All right. You did it. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. It just got to be too much. Definitely digging this paint scheme so far. I realize we're not terribly far into it. But the contrast of the light skin against the dark robes is nice. Because it's cold on the robes and the skin is warm, you have another nice source of temperature contrast there, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I like the direction it's headed in, let's put it that way. Kind of too soon to say, yes, it's good. But I like where it's going. Don't hate it. The idea is when I get to painting the squigs for these fine fellows, yeah, people have certainly been killed for less than cold coffee. You are correct. Yeah, when I get around to painting the squigs, I'm going to be doing them in a similar method to these guys, or similar. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Theme, not scheme, but like the idea is the principle is going to be the same, where they are going to be like weird, like think like naked mole rat, kind of like just fleshy balls of rage. Like typically in Games Workshop IP stuff, the squigs are all like bright red. But again, like to me, they are subterranean creatures. Like they're just weird underground bipedal balls with mouths, and they're just hungry all the time. But they live underground, and they just run around in caves eating whatever they can find. And so I feel like they should have like a similar sort of like never seen the light of day creepy factor to them. I might choose to do a different, maybe I'll do a different wash on them so that they look a little redder. Like maybe I'll use on them like Reikland Flesh Shade, like I was sort of originally thinking for these guys before I changed my mind. Because that does have a little bit more sort of like fleshy redness to it. So I could go that route. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure yet. But I know, like I said, I want the vibe to be very much the same. I want them to fit. So if the riders are super muted and done in the same scheme as the rest of these fine guys, which is the active plan, as they're all, wearing robes and stuff, much the same. So if I go ahead and paint all those guys the same, and then all of a sudden their mounts are like these bright red, bouncy balls, then they're going to kind of steal all the thunder. I don't want that. And obviously, I want them to be a noticed feature, so they're going to be equally light in general hue. All right, guys, I think we did it. think we hit 10. I'll roughly finish up the last of this dude. We're going to run back through the 10 that we did. See if anybody needs to be hit with another coat of anything. This guy needs a little bit more on his face. One more coat there. His fingers over here. This hand. Okay. That guy's done. We got time. We got about 20 minutes left in the stream. Not bad. This seems to be the weak spot on a lot of them. A little hand tucked behind the shield. Most of those I only did like one little coat on. Still a lot of kind of gray poking through. Oops. All right. Yeah, guys, I think I'm pretty happy with where we got to tonight. Ultimately, obviously, I would have liked to get a few more of these guys done. But I knew we weren't going to get through them all. And it was a better idea to just kind of set an attainable goal. And get done what I actually knew I could, which in this case was just get the skin based on 10 of these little night goblins. I still haven't decided on a like an accent or like pop color for these guys. Like, I know I'm going to be doing the light blue in a few places as like an accent, but that's almost more of like an environmental thing than it is like an army thing. That's just, you know, like they are from the realm of death. So there are going to be some sort of universal constants between all those armies. Like in this case, the mushrooms are going to be that same like kind of magic-y blue color because they're magic mushrooms. And they're from the realm of death, so they've absorbed that like death magic and become blue. So I know that that's going to be a thing. But the thing that's sort of like, oh, maybe it's going to be that sort of otherworldly, sort of greenish, tealy color. That might be. I'm trying to think of like, you know, for their like the wrappings on their swords. Actually, I like that. Using the what is it? The Saberite green, and I really wish I knew what happened to the bottle. I had a bottle of I think it's called Gauss Blaster green, and I thought I had a bottle out over here, but I'll have to grab it for next episode because I'm not about to go digging for it right now. But I definitely don't see it, so it's here somewhere. but I'm pretty sure that that is a lighter green color than that Saberite green. But along the same sort of like, along the same vein. So it's not going to be like, you know, a crazy, you know, like divergent color, you know what I mean? Like using an olive green and then like a bright neon green together, like those are two drastically different greens. So it's not really going to look that great, but I think these are both kind of like Gauss Blaster green. I think is like a minty sort of green, which is really like, that's pretty much the color I'm going for. But yeah, using that as like for the moon icons on the shield and the wrappings on the weapons, that seems like that's the play. And then I'll do like brown, little brown boots, some like rope that is a suitable rope color, sort of like a beigey brown color. I don't think I have a specific color in mind. Probably end up being like Xandri dust or something like that, because oops, I'm grossly off. Sneaking suspicion I've been doing that a lot tonight and just haven't been paying attention. Whatever. Shit. That was a lot of paint on the robe. I did not want it. And fixed. Painty. That guy looks pretty good. And that guy looks pretty good. Okay, so we did a double check on those guys, and I like where they're at. What do we got for time? We still got time, so we're just going to kind of keep going. We're going to grab another one. We got 10 base coated. And that I'm happy with. Anything else that I get done tonight is just sort of icing on the cake, and it's stuff I don't have to do later. This is actually one of the shields. I don't know how well you can see that shield. I think it's pretty okay there. The moon has like a very skull-like aspect to it, which I super like, and I wish there were more of these shields in the kit. There's like, I don't know, I want to say like 4 or 5 different shield variations, and it's all just variations on a theme, you know? It's like crescent moon with a grinning face. But it's, like I said, sort of different variations on it. But considering the backstory for my little army here, and the fact that they are from Shyish, the Realm of Death, I think it would be really cool to have that, you know, more frequently imagined as like a grinning skull face. That would be really cool and super fit. And I suppose if I really cared and really wanted to, I could have like sourced bits online and like hunted around until I had all of, so that all 20 of them could have had that shield. I think there was only like 4 of them maybe in the kit. So that would have taken a lot of like bit sourcing, and I didn't care that much. It was one of those things that would have been nice. It would have been cool, but it is not a necessity. think I like this playlist too that we've been listening to today. I think it's on my list of good ones. I think that's all like sort of copyright free music. Somehow I still, even though they're listed as being copyright free, they're not actually copyright free, I don't think, and I keep getting flagged for copyright stuff on like YouTube when these go up after the fact, which is kind of a pain in the ass. I really wish, if they're advertised as being copyright free, that they would actually be copyright free. But of course, it's possible that they were at one point, and then since the artist has gone and copyrighted their stuff, which is, generally a good idea, I suppose, as a music artist, unless you're specifically making non-copyrighted music for this particular type of purpose. But I like drum and bass quite a bit, and there's been a fair bit of drum and bass, I think, tonight, or at least a couple. That last track sort of sparked it in my head. Getting down to about 10 minutes remaining-ish. I'm going to try and finish up this guy and maybe get one more guy done. And I call it a night. That's pretty good. We got through actually what I would consider to be a pretty decent amount. At least for me and my speed. Not the fastest painter, and I don't pretend to be. But we're getting it done. All right. You guys all have very high pronounced cheekbones and very sunken eyes and cheeks. For some reason, they all remind me of like tiny little Grand Moff Tarkins, all running around, being devious. Especially since I'm painting them with like pale, sort of Caucasian-y flesh right now. Just kind of has that Grand Moff Tarkin vibe. He's not a particularly healthy-looking individual. Sorry, pushed off my coffee entirely. Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny. This one. You will be the last one I do for the stream. Congratulations, friend. Well, hope everybody had fun tonight. I know I did. Like I said, I hope, I know I got a fair bit done. I hope, for those that have been listening along at home and maybe working on something of your own. I hope it's been a productive evening for you as well. If not, that's fine. As long as you had fun, I had fun, we all had fun. Let me know in the chat or in the comments on YouTube what you have been working on, if you've been working on something. I'm curious to see all the fun things people do with their spare time. Whether it be something along these lines, miniature painting, or, you know, as I've said in previous, if you are sewing, knitting, or, I don't know, crocheting something. Perhaps you're a blacksmith or a leather worker or carpenter, or who knows, whatever interesting skills you have, whatever hobbies you have. Maybe you're just reading a book. Show me the cover of the book you're reading. I don't care. I'm just curious to see what everyone else does. I like it. It's fun stuff. Everyone should have a hobby. Alright. I'm going to call that guy good enough. So let's see here. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Yeah, not bad. Not bad, team. We did it. We got through a good chunk. So yeah, that gives me 7 remaining to do. Not going to worry about it tonight because it is late. But it gives me something to do maybe tomorrow. Let's try and get them caught up. Alright, so we're going to kick it over to here. Move that light out of the way. So obviously, first off, I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me tonight. I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope you guys had fun. As I said, I know I did. Feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and both at Wes Odinson, WESODINSON. You can also head on over, please, to my YouTube channel, which is just also Wes Odinson, WESODINSON, and that's going to be, you know, youtube.com/ I don't know, users, whatever. Just look up Wes Odinson in on YouTube, and I'm there. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell icon to be notified when new stuff gets posted. All of these streams get uploaded there, and the VODs will be live night of. And there's, I think this is what, episode 15 right now, which is crazy to me that this has been going even close to that long. And I'm just going to keep churning these out week after week after week. And we'll be here. I'll be back Friday, 9 p.m. as per usual. And so we'll be back for the continuation of our delve into the depths of Shyish with our Realm of Death and Goblins. Let's see, do I have anything else really to mention here? I mean, I think that's it. That sums it up. You know the socials. Track me down, follow me at Wes Odinson on pretty much everything. And thanks again for tuning in. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.